Welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. Happy Monday. Alright. Any of you recognize what this is? This is Jim's XL-76 that was splatted on the bench last week-ish with that bum piston and cylinder and crankshaft and rod and pretty much the entire engine from dropping those needles. I still don't know why that happened. Going through there was nothing blatantly obvious, nothing clear as to what happened there. I don't know if one was dropped when it was last assembled and then run and it blew the others out, and that's what allowed everything to travel up through the cylinder. I just don't know. But at least the crankcase was good. You know, and there's an outside chance that that crankshaft would have still been okay, but you don't go to all this work if you're not pretty darn certain. So, as I suspected, I had a great set of basically the rotating assembly from another 76. Piston, cylinder, crank, rod. It's got a new rod bearing in it. The wrist pin bearing was good on the rod that I had, and the drive case bearing was good on the crankshaft, the used crankshaft. Needed a new cover plate, ignition cover plate on this side that supports the other crankshaft bearing, so that's new. New seals. Stuck with the original rings. Those still had beautiful, the ring ridges on them. If you look real close at those piston rings, they're kind of ribbed. Look just gorgeous. And this cylinder's got great compression. You can hear that. That's good stuff. This saw is going to run extraordinarily strong. It's going to need to be tuned to your mix, Jim, and your elevation, but with where it's at right now, it's going to start and run for you. And it'll run for more than 5 minutes. It'll run for more than the 2 seconds that you got when that damn thing dropped that needle into the cylinder before. I did have it idling here on the bench for about 5 minutes, and I was still way too rich on the idle tune, the low speed tune, which I don't know how in the world it kept running that long, but it did. When I pulled the trigger, of course, it just blasted a nice cloud of smoke, but that's good. That's a trick. You know, when you put in a new connecting rod bearing, you're talking about 25 to 31 needles, depending on what model you're working on. Well, you got to use grease to hold those in place. You can flush all that out. I typically don't go crazy with that. You know, I'll give it a quick squirt of brake clean to kind of flush the worst of the grease out once the rod is installed, and then I'll put a couple drops of just regular oil in there, kind of work that around so it's got some startup lube. But when you first run it for that first 5-10 minutes, the fuel mix that's coming through is going to clean kind of that assembly lube out, you know, and I use, again, regular oil to lubricate the rings, the cylinder, as that's all going together. And that's all going to have to flush out the first couple times, you know, couple minutes. 5 is probably about it, you know, and then at the 10-minute mark, you're just running for the sake of running at that point. Since this was a used piston and cylinder, there's no break-in. It's oriented exactly the same. They're matched. That's part of why it's making such good compression. So, Jim had already gone through this before it came to me. The muffler was painted up. Clutch, sprocket, all of that was taken care of, air filter. So really all I had to do was throw it back together with some good parts. So Jim, what I'm going to do is let this sit for a day or so now that I've run it like that. Give it one more test fire. If everything seems good, we'll get it drained, aired out, and heading back your way.